If you want to have any resemblance of an organic garden, then you need to take care of the birds. In this video, I'm going to show how I do that. One of the first birds that I always like seeing in my garden or next to the house are Orioles. They're very beautiful. They're either yellow or orange. They have a really unique bird call as well. And so it's just really fun to feed them. And what I found one of the best things to feed them is grape jelly. You could pick up one of these grape jelly feeders pretty easily. I think just almost all big box stores have grape jelly feeders that look like this. So if you've seen these before and didn't know how they work, I will show you. The first thing that I do is take a knife and I cut through the jelly to loosen it up. Kind of a crisscross pattern. And then I kind of go around the outside. This will help unstick the jelly. For this one, I'm simply going to replace the jelly jar. So I simply twist it on, holding it upside down, like that. And then I turn it right side up. And I squeeze to get some of the jelly coming through. Hopefully you can see that. So I squeeze just to get the jelly going. And there's actually a knob on the bottom. So if you don't have any jelly in the feeder, you can turn this knob and squeeze at the same time too. So this one is done and ready to be hung up. Other types of birds that you can bring in, all kinds of finches and songbirds. And one of the feeds that I think is one of the best ones are ones with the black sunflower seeds. I like getting it in a loose feed as well as suet. So I'm going to remove the top. The seed that I'm going to be using is this one, and it's just something I got from a big box store. Seed. Make sure the feeder is right for the type of seed that you're going to put in it. I always like repurposing tin cans. This is a vegetable can, or it could be a tuna fish can. They make really nice scoops for applications like this. So in this case, I got my hole big enough here. In this case, I can go in, I can simply scoop up some seed and be able to pour it in. So depending on how windy the day is, you might want to consider how much of the loose feed you're going to put in. If you're going to have a really windy day, I wouldn't put any feed in at all. And I would only have the suet blocks that I would put out, because blowing the seed all over isn't helpful, although there are ground birds that will come in and eat the seed. My husband and I really like finches. So this is a thistle seed sock. The finches really like this. Other songbirds enjoy the thistle seed as well, as they're on their migratory pattern going to Canada up through the Midwest here. I don't know if you can hear. And that's actually the song of a house finch, and it's very beautiful. This is a ready-made, although you can buy loose feed and put it in a loose feed feeder. It's a real simple feeder. It's kind of ready-made for you. You can get this from big box stores around, at least in the United States. So this is my finch sock, or my thistle seed sock for finch. If you live in a windy environment, you can get suet blocks. And the nice thing about some of this packaging is it shows you the type of birds that it'll bring into your yard. And different birds eat different things. Sometimes they eat seed, sometimes they eat insects. My goal is to bring the birds in to eat the insects to give me more of an organic yard as much as I can do, and let the birds do their job. So if they're happy, hopefully they help me out too. So to fill this up, you simply, again, it's kind of ready-made. One thing I suggest is when you pick these up, be very delicate with it. This is somewhat brittle, so you want to check and make sure that it's actually full. If you do have a lot of loose, broken off pieces, you can put it in the other feeder so nothing really goes to waste. So for this feeder, I simply slide it in. This is called a large block suet feeder. And then I tuck the sides in. If you have a problem with it, you could always wire it up as well. So I have a handy dandy little chain to help me hang it on my shepherd's hook, which is one of my bird feed stations. I already had this one hanging on my shepherd's hook, but we can't forget about the hummingbirds. They just bring a lot of joy to me. We're really early May, and usually I see them about this time of year, but I haven't seen them yet. There was one of our southern garden friends that actually posted a video showing the hummingbirds were on their way to the north. We have about 2 weeks to go, so hopefully they will show up. The next type of suet I'm going to be doing has a little bit of lard in it. So it's good for the woodpeckers if you want to bring woodpeckers in. I've got 3 or 4 kinds of woodpeckers that come to my yard every year. And it's always nice to give them a little treat. And that's what this is called, berry treat. So this is just a really nice suet to use for that. And you want to get a melt-free format, especially if you're in the south. But anything that says berry treat will bring in other types of birds. So I'm going to open the suet feeder and then I press the brick in there. So I'll do some B-roll here and show you how I've displayed each one of the feeders. I've got them together on one stand, which is a giant shepherd's hook, and it works really well for me. I've had it for several years. So here's my grape jelly feeder, which is good for Orioles, and house finches will also come. And house finch has a red head, so that's a good example. Here is just a plain hummingbird feeder. I think a lot of people have hummingbird feeders. If I come around here. So here you can see I hung the finch suck on top of like through the center pole to let it hang down. And then I used this hook in 2 different ways. So I have got both the large dry suet block and the one that's for the lard-based suet block, which is for the woodpeckers. So lots of different birds will come for those, as well as my loose feeder. So this is just one of my bird feed stations. I have one on my deck as well, and it just brings in tons of birds. So it's one of the ideas if you're looking for how to bring birds into your yard. So a lot of you may be wondering, do I really need to buy all this bird seed to bring birds into my yard? Absolutely not. A simple bird bath will do. Put it in a location where it's easily accessible to the birds and fill it with water. So if this video is helpful, give us a thumbs up so YouTube knows to share this content with others. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.